Paatal Lok and Black Warrant releasing back to back in the first 2 weeks of January, I'm genuinely scared there won't be any banging storytelling left for the rest of the year.
ऐसे टाइम पे या तो आप नौकरी कर लो या ड्यूटी कर लो.
I can't tell you how great it felt to be back in this world and be reunited with Outer Jamnapar police station's very own Inspector Hathi Chaudhary, played by a born-for-this Jaideep Ahlawat. Oh, the joys of watching one of our truly great actors in one of the great roles. The I'm too tired for this shit swag, the tired, haggard presence, the dry wit, the reckless do first, think later bravery, the self-destructive determination, the ability to instantly sniff out the bullshit, the reluctant giving a shit. Hathiram is the rare exception, a disillusioned lone warrior within an indifferent system who recognizes that deep down, doing what's right will remain at odds with doing what you're told. The tragic but significant distance between duty and naukri. Behind the camera too, the formidable, undeniable storytellers that brought us the first season in 2020 are back. Creator Sudeep Sharma, director and DOP Avinash Arun Thavre, and editor Sanyukta Kaza. Once again, a meaty new whirlwind of a case which threatens to expose the moral rot in our society presents itself to Hathiram. Once again, Paatal Lok and Swarg Lok violently collide. Jonathan Thom, a top politician from Nagaland, is found gruesomely murdered in Delhi ahead of a much-discussed Nagaland Business Summit, which could lead to a 20,000 crore investment in the region. This could change the face of Nagaland and bring long-term peace and development to the region, says a senior Naga official. Once again, Hathiram must team up with Imran Ansari, played by the always sincere Ishwak Singh. Except the dynamics of this dynamic duo has now shifted. No longer is Ansari training under Hathiram. He's now the ACP, so Hathiram's boss's boss, bringing a tricky but fascinating new equation to the pair. I like how Ishwak has evolved with the role he plays. Ansari may have begun as the young, eager, wet behind his ears officer, but now, more than 4 years on, both actor and character have a far more self-assured, commanding presence. Once again, Sudeep Sharma and his new co-writers Abhishek Banerjee, Tamal Sen, and Rahul Kanodia construct a sprawling beast of a murder mystery. But in Sudeep's bleak, contemplative worlds, a murder is merely a symptom of something larger. An investigation is merely an excuse to deep dive into the dark heart of the nation and examine the fractures in our society. At its best, in a Sudeep Sharma show, the politics is the place, is the plot. The setting is inseparable from the story. Here, what begins as a high-profile homicide unravels into a saga of drug networks, exploitation of migrants, corruption, political agendas, fraught families, and the traumas of Nagaland. To maintain formidable plotting across 8 episodes and keep the carefully calibrated twists, tricks, roadblocks, shocks, humanity and philosophy coming is no easy business. And to the credit of the makers, you never lose track of what Hathiram and Ansari are doing and what lead they're chasing and why. But I did find myself having to frequently pause and zoom out to remember how the narrative got here and how a new puzzle piece fits in the larger canvas of the case. There were times I genuinely felt like getting my own douchey detective-style pin-up board and strings to keep track of all the angles and unanswered questions. I love that the craft of Paatal Lok doesn't draw too much attention to itself. The show is a fine testament to the fact that at its best, the craft is invisible. Undeniably impressive and immersive as it is, we're not distracted or overwhelmed by the atmosphere and visuals because we're so absorbed and utterly lost in the can't look away, unput-downable storytelling. I can't remember the last Hindi streaming show that had me so hooked with a capital H. Production designer Mukund Gupta in particular works wonders in mounting and dressing train track adjacent slums, shady factories, hospitals, schools and hotels, many of which serve as arenas for thunderous set pieces. Season 2 is a lot more refined and focused than the landscape-defining first chapter, which, for all its rawness, will remain unforgettable for its brutality, bravery and unflinching examination of a society that thrives on its divisions and hierarchies. The second season is also a lot more action-packed, not just because we get a whole lot more set pieces and shootouts, but also because there's always something happening. The series refuses to let you look away. And I did wonder what the show may have lost in chasing bingeable urgency this time around. Speaking of action, Hathiram's shaky, unconvincing hand-to-hand fight sequences in particular certainly aren't the show's strong suit. You can see the choreography, the design, the performance, the gaps. Towards the last leg of the season, the narrative also risks taking on more than it can chew and balancing individual characters with the wider politics and pain of Nagaland. An orphanage-based subplot, for example, lost me in how exactly it ties into the larger picture. In these stretches, Thoughtful, careful plotting risks becoming over-plotting. Equally, I don't remember the first season resorting to low-hanging fruit devices like Hathiram having cool photographic memory-esque eureka flashbacks to justify solving one branch of the case. It's the kind of trope you'd expect to find in a lesser show, but this remains nitpicking in an otherwise smashing season. Even at its most familiar, what propels Paatal Lok is Jaideep Ahlawat as Inspector Hathiram Chaudhary. This is a performance that lives not in the big dramatic moments, of which there are many, but rather in the small, the subtleties, ticks, and flourishes that make a performance feel human and give a character a soul. I love how Jaideep wears the weight of close to 2 decades of being sidelined and disregarded, or even the way he chases after bad guys, reluctant, breathless, but unyielding. Similarly, there's a scene where a fellow officer confides in Hathiram about something personal. The reaction we get from Hathiram and what Jaideep does with the moment is nothing short of whistle-worthy. It's instantly one of my favorite on-screen moments this year. I wanted to do a backflip. This time Hathiram also finds a kindred spirit, a fellow lone warrior in Inspector Meghna Barua, skillfully played by an excellent Tilottama Shom. Like Hathiram, Meghna is a tired, tragic hero weighed down by a system that's less interested in truths and more in the illusion of results. Amidst the posturing, perception, and politicking within policing, there is little room for justice. Much like Black Warrant last week, Paatal Lok gives us another scathing indictment of a system where it's the big, wealthy people in power who make rash, self-serving decisions and set nightmares into motion, leaving a trail of bodies behind. With its second season, Paatal Lok once again finds the glorious, highly coveted middle ground of accessible, arresting, and meaningful. With its second season, the benchmark-setting Paatal Lok remains the very same show that captured the culture back in 2020, and I can't think of a greater compliment. You can watch Paatal Lok Season 2 on Amazon Prime Video. For more reviews like this one, subscribe to The Hollywood Reporter India.